Have you ever felt like you were running, but had no idea where you were going? Last week, I had a day just like that. I woke up with a long to-do list, and the weight of exhaustion settled into every breath. The entire day passed in a blur of calls, deadlines, messages, and my mind constantly spinning with what I hadn't finished. Everything felt urgent. Everything felt important, and somewhere along the way, I forgot how to stop. Then, on my way home, I passed a small park. At first, I planned to walk right by, just like every other day. But something made me pause. I heard a sound rising above the noise of the city, a bright, carefree laugh from a little girl running freely across the grass, chasing her father. She threw her head back, laughing like there was nothing else in the world but joy. No deadlines, no worries, just that moment. And her laughter. I stopped, and for the first time that day, I looked up. The sky wasn't anything special. Not bright or dramatic, but it had a depth, a quiet blue that felt endless. A soft breeze touched my face, carrying the scent of something delicious being cooked nearby. I heard the leaves rustle, birds calling faintly from somewhere in the distance. And right there, without any big reason, I smiled. Not because everything was fine, but because for the first time I had truly woken up. That moment wasn't magical. There was no good news, with no big breakthrough, but it made me realize how much I had been missing. The tiny, beautiful things that were always there. I was too busy chasing what I had to do that I forgot what it means to simply be alive. Life doesn't always need a big change to feel beautiful. Sometimes all you need is to pause and truly see. So let me ask you, are you slowing down enough to feel your life? Or are you also running like I was, exhausted, overwhelmed, and not even sure what you're running past? Maybe, just maybe, a laugh, a breeze, a smell from the kitchen could be enough to wake you up. And once you begin to truly notice, you'll see, life was never lacking in beauty. We just forgot how to feel it, chasing more versus appreciating now. We grow up in a world that constantly whispers in our ears, you need more. More money, a better job, a bigger, better body, a life that others will envy. So we run. We strive. We make goals, write checklists, plan for the future, and often forget the present. We live as if life is a race with no finish line. Every time we achieve something, we quickly move on to the next goal. We rarely pause to ask ourselves, what do I already have? Or what made me feel thankful today? Instead, our minds spin with one question: how can I get more? But here's the truth. That feeling of not enough doesn't come from truly lacking. It comes from not stopping long enough to see how much you already have. We often treat happiness as a reward for success, something we're allowed to feel after we accomplish more. But real happiness begins when we learn to appreciate what's already here. So ask yourself this. When was the last time you truly felt grateful for something simple? A cool drink on a hot day? A gentle hug after a long one? A quiet morning when you woke up in a warm bed? These things don't have to be grand. They just need to be noticed. Because gratitude doesn't require you to change your whole life. It only asks you to change how you see your life. And sometimes the only thing you need to realize you're already enough is to pause, take a deep breath, and quietly whisper, "Thank you for all these ordinary, beautiful things." Have you ever felt like your life was going just fine until you saw someone else's? One peaceful morning, you're sipping coffee, listening to soft music, feeling relaxed. But then you check your phone, scroll through social media, and see someone traveling through Europe, smiling beneath blue skies and golden sunsets. Suddenly, your coffee tastes bland. That peaceful feeling fades. You start to wonder, am I missing something? Comparison doesn't knock loudly at your door. It arrives quietly, like a whisper, but it has the power to stir up deep doubts within you. It says things like, you should be doing better. Shouldn't you be more successful by now? You should speak better English at your age. The word should sounds like motivation, but more often it becomes pressure. It convinces you that you're always late, always behind, never quite enough. But here's the truth. You are not lacking. You're simply at a different point on your own journey. Life isn't a synchronized race where finishing faster means you're better. We all start at different places, have different goals, and face different challenges. Comparing yourself to someone else is like comparing winter to spring. You can't force a tree to bloom if its roots are still learning how to grow. If you could look back at yourself 1 year ago, you might see how far you've actually come. Maybe you haven't noticed, but you've grown more than you think. The problem isn't that you're moving too slowly. It's that you've forgotten that real progress is often quiet. There are no fireworks, no applause, just steady steps, patient effort, and a quiet belief that each moment is shaping you into who you're meant to be. And this matters. You don't need to achieve something massive to feel valuable. You don't need to reach someone else's level to be on the right path. Maybe today you can't see the outcome clearly, but that doesn't mean you aren't making progress. You are growing. And that growth, no matter how slow or silent, is still something to be proud of. Someone else's dream. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, what if the life I'm living today is the very life I once dreamed of? It might sound strange at first, but think back. 5 years ago, what were you hoping for? Maybe you wished for a stable place to live, a decent job, or just a bit of peace in your heart. At the time, those things felt distant, maybe even impossible. And yet today, they exist in your life, quietly, naturally, and perhaps so familiar that you've forgotten how much they once meant. We often fall into a silent habit. Once we achieve something, we look ahead again. What's next? What else do I need? Every time we reach a goal, we immediately set another and forget to pause. We forget to celebrate, forget to appreciate. We forget that this moment, this ordinary, simple, present life, was once something we prayed for with all our heart. Look around. The home you live in today, it might have been a dream when you were struggling to pay rent. The job you have now, it may have once felt out of reach when you were just starting out. The peace you're feeling, it might have been born from a time when you were lost, uncertain, or hurting. What you have today is not random. It's the result of every step you took when you wanted to give up but didn't. The sad thing is, we often don't recognize the miracle when it finally arrives, simply because it no longer feels new. But the truth is, you are living inside the answer to your past prayers. And if you don't pause to feel it, you'll miss the joy of it. Not because you don't have enough, but because you've grown so used to what you once longed for. So today, take a moment to reflect. Try to see your life through the eyes of your past self. You might realize that your life, though not perfect, is already something to be deeply grateful for. And just by recognizing that, your heart becomes lighter, your soul feels fuller. You've come further than you think. You're living in the very dreams you once held with hope. A simple gratitude practice. You don't need a fancy notebook or a perfect routine to begin shifting your mindset. All you need is a pen, a small piece of paper, and a few quiet minutes in the morning or before bed. The practice is simple. Write down 3 things you feel grateful for that day. They don't have to be big or impressive. They just need to be honest. Even the smallest things, if felt deeply, are worth noticing. And if you're learning English, this is a beautiful way to grow both your language skills and your heart at the same time. Writing your gratitude in English, just a few simple sentences each day, helps you build vocabulary, improve your sentence structure, and most importantly, feel the language. You don't have to write a lot. It doesn't have to be perfect. No one's grading you. This space is just for you. What matters most is sincerity, because language truly comes alive when it carries real emotion. You can start with small examples, like, I'm thankful for my morning coffee. A warm cup at the start of your day, simple but peaceful. I'm grateful for one new English word I learned today. Just one word, but it means progress. I appreciate myself for not giving up. You're still trying. You're still here. And that deserves recognition. Gratitude is a habit, and like any habit, it grows stronger with repetition. The more you practice, the more you begin to realize your life isn't lacking. Maybe you just haven't been seeing it clearly. The more you write down what you're thankful for, the lighter your heart becomes. Even when life isn't perfect, you'll begin to feel more grounded, more peaceful, more complete. Because sometimes the only thing you need to transform your entire day is to change the way you see that day. Gratitude changes everything. Gratitude doesn't make all your problems disappear. It doesn't change the job you go to. It doesn't erase your bills, and it doesn't make everyone around you behave perfectly. But it changes the one thing that matters most, the way you see it all. And when your perspective shifts, everything else, your emotions, your thoughts, your energy, begins to shift too. When you live from a place of lack, everything feels heavy. You focus on what you don't have, what you haven't done, and your mind fills with pressure. But when you choose to practice gratitude, your focus moves to what is already here. You notice the morning light through the window, the friend who always listens, or simply the legs that carry you through the day. Suddenly, you no longer feel poor. You feel rich. Gratitude is not just a feeling. It's a way of seeing. It doesn't wait for life to be perfect. It appears in the most ordinary moments, when you pause, take a breath, and quietly say, I'm okay, I'm alive, and that's enough. When you shift your focus, your inner world begins to soften. You feel lighter, more grounded. Not because you have more, but because you see more. Maybe you're still on your journey. Maybe you still have goals, dreams, and challenges ahead. That doesn't mean you can't feel grateful right now. You don't have to wait until everything is fixed, until your dreams come true, or until your English is perfect. You can feel thankful, even in the middle of the mess. And here's the magic. The more grateful you are, the stronger and more peaceful you feel inside. So remember this. Gratitude isn't a reward you earn when life is finally good enough. It's the small light you choose to turn on to help you see what's already beautiful around you. When you learn to see with grateful eyes, life begins to feel softer, kinder, and more than enough. Celebrate how far you've come. Have you ever truly paused just to see how far you've come? In the rush of daily life, we tend to only look forward. We focus on the next goal, the next step, the next big thing. But sometimes what you really need isn't to move faster, but to look back and realize how far you've already traveled. Think about it. What fears have you overcome? What difficult days did you survive when you thought you couldn't go on? What lessons have you learned that only time, struggle, and patience could teach? Maybe you once felt lost, overwhelmed, unsure of yourself. But you're still here, still living, still learning, still growing. The truth is, if you never stop to reflect, you might miss the quiet joy of your own journey. You might forget to honor your strength, to acknowledge your growth. And without that recognition, it's easy to feel like you're still not enough. But you are enough. Not because you're perfect, but because you've been brave enough to keep going through everything that once felt impossible. Everyone carries a story that others can't see. Silent tears, sleepless nights, moments of starting over when it was hard just to breathe. Only you know the full weight of your journey. So don't wait for someone else to recognize your progress. Give yourself that gift. Look in the mirror and say, I'm proud of how far I've come. Because in the end, happiness doesn't just come from reaching a destination. It comes from being present with your own story. And today, you deserve to celebrate. Not because you've finished, but because you've chosen to keep going. With courage, with heart, and with quiet strength. You can be thankful and still grow. Gratitude doesn't mean giving up your dreams or letting go of your goals. It doesn't mean you have to settle or stop striving. Instead, gratitude means you can feel full even while you're still moving forward. It's the ability to appreciate where you are now while reaching for where you want to go, with peace in your heart. You can absolutely be thankful for what you have and still pursue more. In fact, gratitude often gives you the strength to keep going. When you're no longer chasing success out of pressure or fear of not being enough, your vision becomes clearer. Your motivation feels lighter. Your journey becomes filled with more love and less stress. Imagine climbing a mountain. There's still a long way to the top. But if you pause to look back at the path you've already climbed, to breathe in the fresh air, to feel your feet grounded on the earth, the climb becomes more meaningful. You're not climbing because you hate where you are. You're climbing because you value growth, and you're grateful for every step that got you this far. Gratitude doesn't slow you down. It steadies your steps. It reminds you that you don't need to achieve something huge to feel worthy. Every effort you make, every day you don't give up, already carries value. And you deserve to feel that fullness, not just when you reach the end, but throughout the journey itself. So keep moving forward, keep growing, but take gratitude with you in every step. It won't hold you back. It will carry you forward with a lighter, clearer, and more loving heart. Before we end, I invite you to take a moment just for yourself. Sit still. Breathe slowly, in and out. Let your shoulders drop. Now gently bring to mind one simple thing you're thankful for today. Maybe it's the warm cup of tea you had this morning, a kind word from someone you love, or simply the fact that you made it through another day. Don't rush it. Just feel it. Let that feeling rest in your heart. Gratitude doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't ask for attention. Its power lies in its quiet presence, the way it shifts your focus, softens your thoughts, and brings you back to what really matters. You don't need a new life. You don't need to be someone else. Sometimes, the greatest change comes from simply seeing your current life through new eyes. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are becoming. With every small step, with every moment of awareness. Peace doesn't arrive when everything is perfect. Peace begins the moment you decide to be thankful. If today's reflection brought you even a little more light or comfort, I'd love for you to share it with someone who might need it too. And if you want more gentle, inspiring English like this, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Kunzy in English, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a moment to grow in both your language and your heart. Thank you for being here, just as you are. I'll see you in the next episode.